Welcome to the Parkland Report. My name is Seamus Riley. Joining me on this program, Kevin Knott, Dean of Institutional Effectiveness here at Parkland College. Welcome to the Parkland Report.
Thank you for having me.
Kevin, your office covers institutional research and grants and contracts. Can you tell me briefly what institutional effectiveness is?
It encompasses all kinds of things. First off, compliance. We do all the compliance work for accreditation, which is a higher learning commission for the federal and state government. And we do all the compliance for a lot of the programs, such as health professions, and a lot of those have their individual program compliance. We do a lot of the internal data requests where people look at the performance of students, completion rates, persistence rates, retention rates, basically data decision or decisions supported by data, or evidence-based decision making is a lot of the things we do. We do all the course evaluations, so whenever students complete a course, they'll take the evaluations and they'll basically rate how well the instructor did or how well the course did, and many other things on top of that.
So on the compliance piece, what that means is the state has certain requirements, the federal government has certain requirements, the Department of Education, and they want to know certain things about us. A lot of times it's got to do with the type of students we have, or like our demographics, how many actual students we have who are enrolled, and the status of enrollment. So give me an example of like a couple of different sort of reports that you look at, one from the state, one from the federal, that sort of give people a sense of why it is that we collect the data.
Certainly. Well, number one, they're mandated. So that's everybody, all institutions have to do this. If we receive Title IV funding from the federal government, or any institution receives Title IV funding, we have to do this. And some of the reports we do are called ICAPs, and those come from the Department of Education, and we send these in, and basically it goes into a repository, and then they're able to compare us to other institutions on how we're doing in retention rates, persistence rates. We even look at how many faculty we have. Beyond students, we look at how many faculty we have, how many programs we offer, all those kind of things. On the state side, a lot of the state and a lot of the federal, they go hand in hand, but they use them at the state level. Like, we'll basically compare ourselves to our peer group institutions within the state, and so a lot of them are comparable along the same lines.
So when you're talking about sort of making decisions using data, I mean, a lot of different things going into, say, just our basic demographic data, like what do we look like? I mean, what's our student population look like in terms of demographic? That can help us make some decisions about like services that we might offer, certainly, or the diversity of our faculty and staff, and sort of how we might want to change that. And then we are able to compare apples to apples, right? So we're not just looking at our college, Parkland College, compared to sort of like Yale or Harvard or something. We're looking at other similar sized two-year institutions across the country. So that makes it easier for us to sort of plan for the future a little bit.
Absolutely. One of the things we look at all the time is key performance indicators. We participate in the Johnson County Community Benchmarking Project, which is a national initiative where community colleges from all across the country, usually around 250 each year, participate. Everybody collects the data, they send it in, and then Johnson County sends it back to us, and we are able to compare ourselves on basic metrics on how we do everything from HR data to what's the percent of minority faculty to compared to the student population, to what's our persistence rates compared to peer institutions, how many dollars we spend per employee on professional development, everything across the board. So we're able to compare ourselves and other like institutions, how we're doing. So, and even on the program level, we look at a lot of the institutions on our programs of similar other institutions on their programs of how we're doing.
So there's specialty departments or areas, you mentioned health professions earlier on.
Right.
They have sort of other sort of things that they're sort of looking at, that they need specialized reporting or specialized analysis of the data for their programs, for their own compliance issues, right?
Yeah, a lot of that, especially nursing, dental hygiene, they have strict guidelines of how they perform, how they do, because that's just part of their compliance. They have to retain this compliance every year, so the program stays in line with where it's supposed to be.
You know, in addition to the mandated reporting that we do for the state and federal level, we also have some sort of, like you mentioned, data requests from individual departments or faculty. Sort of give me a sense of what it is that the kinds of research questions that people typically come up with.
Who are our students? How many do we have? What's the completion? How many students are completing? Why? That's a question that a lot of this data goes to answer. A lot of times we can't answer that question. We'll give a program director or a dean or whoever a lot of data, and we'll help them answer the question of why something happens, what's student behavior, why students behave in a certain way. That's where they'll ask us questions. We'll go into the data and dive a little deeper to help them answer the question of why. That's always a big issue.
So, you know, I know one of the things that's a priority for the college is persistence, retention, completion. We're part of a Higher Learning Commission Persistence Completion Academy. You know, part of the way in which we begin to sort of establish benchmarks is to look at sort of what our trend data are. So what are the trends over the last 3 to 5 years, establish some sort of starting points, and then move the needle or try to move the needle. And so I suppose a lot of the sort of work that individual departments or areas will do would be looking at the actual raw data and then thinking about creative ways for them to change how we might change things, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you can take the data and you can be reactive to it, but a lot of them are being proactive in what we're doing now and what they can be doing to attract more students, as in recruiting, retaining more students, as in the retention rates, and getting them through the pipeline on the what we call persistence rates, are from time they start the program to the time they end, to get them through step by step by step to get them to completion, yes.
I know one of the other major things that you do in your area is the evaluation of our faculty, which every student at Parkland gets to evaluate, every single faculty member, and also some surveys that we do, either college-wide surveys or mandated surveys that we have for, you know, staff climate surveys. That's an important part of the feedback that we give to faculty and to staff to allow them to change some of our practices here.
Yeah, we do some college-wide surveys, and we also do, I get a lot of data or a lot of survey requests from individual departments. For instance, a lot of satisfaction surveys, a lot of how we're doing to our constituents, whether it be faculty, staff, or students, those kind of surveys. We do one of the college-wide surveys we do is the Community College Survey of Student Engagement, to where we ask them, how are we doing? How are we doing as an institution, and how are you doing in regards to what the services we offer?
And again, we can compare that with other, like, I want to ask you one more thing before we finish up, and that is you're also in charge of grants and contracts. Of course, the data that we get sort of telling us about our performance helps influence areas where we might go looking for external funding, either on the private side or on the federal or state side. Very important part of the college and the work that we do here, especially in difficult budget times here.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of the things, grants and contracts and institutional research, they go hand in hand in a lot of ways. When a PI or principal investigator goes to apply for a specific grant, a lot of the requirements of the grant require you to have data to back up to say what you're doing or what you plan to do. So we have to provide a lot of data for very extensive applications, such as the Title III grant we received about 2.5 years ago, where they lay out all the goals, all the performance metrics, and where you want to be by the time the grant is done. You have to have data to back up everything you do.
Perfect example of how we connect data to evidence and make decisions about what will make Parkland better in the future. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back after this short break.
Developmental Services Center is looking for direct support professionals to support people with disabilities to enjoy a life full of opportunities and greater independence. If you want to make a difference in someone's life every day and you are looking for a rewarding career opportunity, come work with us.
Come work with us.
Come work with us.
For more information about these rewarding opportunities, please visit our website or give us a call.
Come work with us.
Catch live, play-by-play coverage of Parkland sports. Live the action live. CobraSports.net.
Welcome back. Joining me in this section of Parkland Report, Julie Marlatt. She's the Dean of Enrollment Management here at Parkland College. Welcome to the Parkland Report.
Thanks for having me, Seamus.
Julie, it seems like you've been here forever, but I know you have not. You've only been here a little while. How long have you been here?
It's been a little over a year now, but it does seem like it has been a lot longer than that. I feel fortunate that I've gotten to know a lot of folks here at the college, and I feel very comfortable here.
Very good. So talk to me a little bit about enrollment management. I know it's a sort of a national sort of trend we have. We certainly had that in mind when we created the position a couple of years ago. Talk to me from your perspective about what enrollment management is.
Well, with the community college, for so many years, we just used to open the doors and people would just come. And we provided information to them. But that time has changed. And we need to manage the enrollment. And what that entails is the admissions process when students are entering the college, the financial aid process, how we can assist students in affording coming to school, as well as the assessment component. When you come to a community college, you don't always just come and take a class. We need to make sure that you're college ready or figure out where to get you started so you're successful. We also work with international students and veteran students. So that enrollment management area encompasses all of those different components for the students when they're looking to start at Parkland College.
I know that when we built the student union, part of the consideration was an understanding of how we create an atmosphere, an environment where that flow worked for students from one piece of the process to another. And you were lucky enough to arrive just as we were opening or had to open the doors. Does the building match what you see as a state-of-the-art enrollment management buildings?
We do have a beautiful space. The student union is our front door, if you will, to Parkland College. We have a lot of doors and a lot of ways that students can enter, but if they do come to the student union, they can get started successfully. That's where they can move to the different offices very quickly and easily, sometimes all on the same floor, to take care of all of their needs from inquiry all the way through enrollment. Now, sometimes it does take a couple more than just one trip. Students don't always come in the door 100% prepared and understanding what they need to do to get started, and so we work with them to make that process smooth and to move them through as quickly as possible.
So, you know, the community college system has prided itself on being an access sort of structure, right? I mean, if you need somewhere to go, we're here. You can walk in the door and start with very limited sort of requirements ahead of time. Unlike four-year schools, which, you know, it's competitive, so we don't necessarily have competition. But even within that access mission, things have changed in both in terms of the level of assessment that we're doing for our students to make sure they're going to be successful, and also in best practices that we have begun to research and look at in terms of making sure that students are likely to be, again, successful when they walk in the door. Are we moving into the realm of the four-year schools where we're beginning to think about prospects? We're asking students to engage with us a little sooner than the week before the semester starts?
Very much so. With the community college open access mission, a lot of students think, oh, it's August, I need to go to school, and they'll decide to come to our doors and start the process. But we actually are starting the process in April to begin registration for not only summer but also for the fall classes. So the sooner the students are in the pipeline, even our high school seniors, if they start working with us now, we'll do the application process, get those transcripts on file. Yes, we do need high school transcripts if you're a degree-seeking student. And then we want to assist you in preparing for assessments, whether it's for math. Sometimes people are not comfortable with math and they need a little bit more to prepare for that. The more prepared you are, the better off you'll do on the assessment, the more likely you could be college ready or even place higher in your math placements. So we like that extra time to work with the students so that we can make sure that they're starting off successfully. Versus if you wait until the very end, you feel rushed and you might not get the classes that you want at the time that you want. Just because we're an open access institution, waiting until the very end of August or the middle of August is not going to help you in starting off in a successful path. There's also programs like the Pathway to Illinois program, and that's a guaranteed admission program to University of Illinois. Students are admitted as freshmen directly from their high school as seniors, and if they're admitted into that program, that's something we look at in an admissions cycle much earlier, similar to the four-year institutions. So we're reviewing those students now, and if you miss those deadlines, you may not be able to be admitted in the program. So the sooner you start with your process here at Parkland College, the better we are to ensure that you're going to be successful and in a program that you're looking to aspire to.
I'm a firm believer in the notion that people should come to college to learn about themselves, and community college has been great because I know my own experience and looking at students' experiences of finding a subject that they didn't even know existed, and then suddenly it becomes what they're going to dedicate the rest of their career and professional life to. But it seems to me that part of where we're going now is, you know, with the cost of college, with the notion that this is just one step on the pathway, whether it be to the four-year school or whether it be into industry, that it's more important than ever that students begin to start to at least understand the general areas of their ability or what their affinity is for a certain area, so that they can be successful. I mean, we want people to engage and try new things and discover, but we also want to make sure that they're generally going in a direction.
And students are mobile. They may not do the traditional start and stop of starting at the community college, transferring into the four-year institution. Sometimes they start with us and take a class or two over the summer and then transfer on right away. Others stay with us to complete that associate's degree, which is the transferable degree that they can then take on and complete their last 2 years at the four-year institution, saving them quite a bit of money. Other students will just get a certificate, complete at that stage, and then go into the workforce. Some will start at the four-year school and find out coming back to the community college is a better fit for them. And some bounce back and forth between many different institutions. And so the community college does give the student opportunity to figure out what is best for them at a more affordable rate. They can live at home or even live close to home and not spend that extra dollar on the room and board that you'd spend at a university. And then you can also have a lower tuition rate as well. And then of course there's financial aid that can assist in lowering that overall cost. So students are figuring out if they want to pursue that associate's degree or maybe a specific certificate area, they can try a couple different classes here and there. And it's not going to break the bank in order to explore that. So that is one of the beautiful things about the community college.
I really like your description of that swirl that happens here. We do get students coming from all directions, trying a year, or even while they're co-enrolled at the university, coming back over here to take a specific class. Talk to me a little bit about the work that we do to work with an emerging sort of population of students, and that is our folks over the age of 27, for example, who are currently employed in the workforce, coming back in to begin the process of transitioning careers.
We do have students of all ages. So you have your traditional students coming directly from the high school, but we also have our adult student population as well. We have dedicated admissions representatives to be able to work with students that are interested in coming back. We have programs, partnerships with four-year institutions such as Eastern Illinois University, where the students can come and do courses just over the weekend. So we have accelerated programs. We have courses in the summer that are even as short as 3 weeks. We have courses that are just in the evening. I myself was a working adult going through school, and we have the opportunity to provide that flexibility to students. You can work full-time during the day but still pursue coursework in the evenings, and also online. We have a very robust online offering for students, whether you're here at Parkland's district in the Champaign-Urbana area, or if you're miles and miles away or in another state. So you have that balance where you can pick courses that fit into your work-life balance, in addition to family and a social life. There's a lot that our community college students are juggling, and so we try to work with that in that flexible schedule.
So it's interesting as we move forward, there's a lot more to going to community college than we might previously have thought about. So what are some of the ways in which students can engage with us way ahead of time as they begin to think about, and what are ways in which your departments engage with the populations outside of the college?
So we do have campus visit opportunities all throughout the year, and you can certainly come to our website at parkland.edu, visit us to learn about what those opportunities are. We also do one-on-one visits, so if you would like that more structured visit where we can go through your transcripts and talk about what it's like for you to return as a working adult and look at your college transcripts and the coursework you've already completed, we can meet with you one-on-one. And that can happen at any time. We're here Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. You can come on by, either scheduled visit or unannounced, and then we'll begin working with you on the process. You can even start inquiring just online. If you're at home, go online, you can apply online, you can inquire online, and we can start that dialogue from remote if you do not have that time to schedule to come in and meet with us one-on-one. And then we can explore different offerings. We have different program directors, whether it's health professions or a career technical education area. So if you want to get a tour of those facilities, we have amazing facilities here at Parkland where you can really get hands-on and experience what you may want to do down the road. And so I recommend coming out and seeing it for yourself.
Excellent. Perfect example of how we engage our community as part of the enrollment process. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back after this short break.
Having problems fitting college into your busy schedule? Take classes on your time.
Now that the kids are in bed, I can relax and view this week's lesson. It is so great that I can be out of town and still participate in class discussions. Even though this class is online, these videos really give me a chance to get to know my professors, all from the comfort of my own home.
With affordable tuition, hundreds of online classes, and over 20 degrees to choose from, Parkland College Online Learning is here for you. So go ahead, register today. Visit online.parkland.edu for more information about Parkland's online classes.
Welcome back to the Parkland Report. Joining me now, Assistant Dean of Adult Education and Workforce Development, Tawan Nickens. You're very welcome to the Parkland Report.
Thank you, Seamus.
Tell me a little bit about the work that you do. First of all, what is adult education? And talk to me a little bit about the structure of adult education here at Parkland College.
Sure. Adult education is one of the grant-funded programs here at Parkland. We provide free classes and services to adults that lack a high school diploma, or individuals whose English is not their primary language. And so our goal is to help these adults develop career pathway goals and move beyond our program, develop the basic skills they need in order to access post-secondary education training. And so our program is federal funded. We are performance-based as well, so the federal funds that come in to support our activities are all tied to meeting performance objectives. And right now, again, the main objective is workforce development and helping these adults develop career pathways.
So it used to be, if I'm not incorrect, right? I mean, this was a place where if you weren't going to finish in high school for one reason or another, or if you never finished in high school and just went back in the workforce, this would be the place where you would have come to complete your GED or your high school equivalency. That's sort of changed, right? I mean, the GED model or the high school completion piece, I mean, it still exists, but lots of things have changed about, first of all, the exam and the cost of the exam, right?
Sure. So our main thing is engaging that population. There are, back in the day, you could find employment in our community and in the nation, really, that would not require advanced training. But those days are gone. So in order to be able to compete, especially in this community, you have to have education, you have to have credentials. And so the focus has moved from basic skill acquisition, where you're just learning these basic skills to help yourself improve your quality of life, to tying that goal to employment. So helping adults to develop careers, so not just a job, but an actual career that will help them to provide to obtain family supporting wages. And so for the high school equivalency, there are several options in the state of Illinois now. It used to be just a GED as the only recognized credential, but now in the state of Illinois there are several, and they are test-based at this particular time. So students have options as far as what test do they take. We serve a large number of English language learners in our program as well, and for our program, these learners are working on survival English. So these are the individuals coming to our community and they do not have the skills to be able to function in society. So we work on the very function-based skills. But we also know that these individuals, many of them being employed when they're here, within the first few weeks of being here, they're employed, but being able to be safe on the job and also finding a career of interest that's going to provide long-term family supporting wages.
And some of those folks are coming in with already having earned degrees and advanced degrees even in their own countries, but lacking basic English skills.
Absolutely. So our focus is helping them to obtain those English language skills that would help them to advance to post-secondary. Many of the students we serve do want to. There are professionals in their country, doctors, nurses, we see it all, and they want to practice here in the States. But again, that language barrier prevents them from being able to access those higher level training to get the certification that they need to practice here.
So you mentioned pathways, and I know the acronym is ICAPs, and you can tease that out for me. And that was sort of a national sort of focus in a couple of various different states around the country that was sort of thinking about, well, instead of just giving people some basic sort of high school equivalency skills or basic education skills, why don't we start them on the first steps toward acquiring a certificate or some sort of professional training, so that will allow them to move up the job scale. Because I mean, many people can go into the workforce at entry level, but entry level means entry level wages, which are really not sustainable. So talk to me about Parkland's participation in ICAPs and the work that you've been doing in that area.
Sure. ICAPs stands for Integrated Career and Academic Preparation System. And what it is it is an accelerated strategy to help more adult learners access post-secondary education and training. Too often adults get into the adult education program where they're working on building skills free, and they don't really flourish, they don't really grow, or it takes time for them to grow. Meanwhile, they also have families to support. So the ICAPs is an accelerated strategy that's going to help these adults while they're working on the basic skills, while they're working on the high school, while they're working on identifying what career do I want to pursue, while they're working on building their English language. They're also able to enroll in select career and technical education courses, so they start that program. I liken it to like a dual credit program in a high school for adult learners. So the individuals are in adult education classes, and they receive the support to get through their career and technical courses. So here at Parkland, we're one of about 20 colleges in the state of Illinois participating in the ICAPs programming through the Community College Board. And our ICAPs program that we currently have right now is in industrial welding, but we're developing more that will be available in 5 areas that will be available in the fall semester. And the goal being that we're finding adults who are interested in these careers. They're working on their completion, their certification from the secondary level, but they're also enrolled into credit courses. So they receive additional support. They receive transition support, very intrusive advising support outside of the classroom, but they also receive support skills in the form of an actual college class. So they're in a career class, and as far as the faculty are concerned here at Parkland, you don't know you have ICAP students. They're in there just like any other student. But what the ICAP students is, they're able to benefit from an additional support skills class that adult education faculty partner with the career and technical education faculty to deliver. So it's a way to get more students to credential attainment quicker.
Traditionally, one of the barriers for adult education students was that they, even though they're on the same campus, they never really felt part of it. They don't qualify necessarily for federal financial aid while they're still pre-college level. So this ICAPs program, or integrated program, allows for some funding to support the instruction costs associated with it. And like you said, to the instructor in the class, a student is a student, so they blend in. But importantly, I think it also allows students to begin to sort of identify areas where they might go into as a first step. So talk to me about the 5 areas that you're focused on right now.
Sure. Part of the adult education and all the programming that we provide is part of a national workforce law called the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And so in our local area, we have a regional plan and a local plan that looks at labor market needs in our local area, an area of growth, so industries of growth. And so our ICAPs programming are aligned to regional plan, regional information in our area that defines what are potential growth pathways for adult learners. So they are health careers, transportation, distribution, logistics, manufacturing, hospitality, and there's one more that escapes me. Oh. There's 5. And so what we're doing is we're right now developing those programs, partnering with our Career and Technical Education Division here at Parkland. So we're partnering with those academic units here at the college to develop career bridges, if you will. So that while they're in adult education, they have an opportunity to explore these different pathways before they actually enroll in them. Because once you get into those pathways, you are tuition-bearing students.
Sure.
There is funding through the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. There is funding available to support those programs, because many of the programs that ICAPs are built around are very short-term, 1-year stackable certificate type programs, are not necessarily associate degree programs. They could lead to that.
Sure.
But it's a starting point.
Right.
So you go in, you do your 16 hours, and then you continue to build upon that.
We've noticed that students do seem to do better, especially when they're new to education, when they can bite off little chunks and achieve success.
Absolutely.
So this is a great program and a great way to support the development of the workforce here in our district. So thanks so much for being here today.
You're very welcome.